Hey everyone, welcome to AP US History Study Group. This is a safe and friendly environment where our goal is to be as prepared for the AP exam as possible. Usually with bigger groups, we'll have breakout rooms to promote more discussion, but since we only have 7 today, we'll all just stay in the main room. For today, our plan is to discuss the DBQ prompt number 3 on the 2018 AP US History FRQ. The question is shown on the screen right now. I would like to give everyone 12 minutes to construct a contextualization and write a thesis. Then we'll all come back together and discuss our answers and find ways to improve. Just FYI, all answers will be anonymous in case anyone feels uncomfortable. So without further ado, I'll see everyone back here in 12 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Was it enough time for everyone to construct a contextualization paragraph and thesis? Great. So if everyone doesn't mind, please type in your emails into the chat and I will share with you the document with all the responses. So now that the responses are on the screen in front of you, we can start the discussion. Would anyone like to begin by reading the first response?
Yeah. So for contextualization, before 1861, the United States economy was divided between the North and South. One bit of evidence in support of this claim is the Industrial Revolution in the North and reliance on slavery in the South. In the North, new technology helped develop industry, which would lead to an increase in the number of factories and a decrease in the amount of handcraft goods, leading to more efficient production lines. However, the South lagged behind the North and relied on manual labor like slavery to pick cotton in large plantations. With the North industrializing and the South stuck with slavery, the United States economy before 1861 was divided. And then for thesis, from 1861 to 1900, the Civil War fostered economic change in the United States. During this time period, the economic change fostered by the Civil War included 1, the abolishment of slavery, 2, increasing industrialization, and 3, the reconstruction of the South.
Great, thank you for your read aloud. So what are we all thinking about this response?
I actually think this is a great response. So, looking at the rubric provided by College Board, I think that it hits the main points that it needs to gain the point. However, the only thing I would recommend is to include a qualifier in the response. So, it might be better to say that the Civil War fostered a great deal of change or something along those lines. I think it would make the response a little more complete.
Yeah, I agree with Madison. I think by adding a qualifier, it makes the answer a lot more approachable. If this response did have a qualifier, I think the grader would be forced to give points.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Thank you, Madison and Alex, for your comments. Let's move on to the second answer. I'll be reading this one. So this one says, prior to 1861, the United States experienced limited economic change. One bit of evidence in support of this claim is the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution led to the industrialization of the North, which decreased the amount of handcrafted goods and increased the amount of machine-produced products, leading to more efficient production lines. The United States economy prior to 1861 relied on the emerging merchandised production of the North, and thus the United States economy experienced limited change. For the thesis, it says, from 1861 to 1900, the Civil War had great economic change in the United States. During this time period, the economic change most fostered by the Civil War included 1, the end of slavery, 2, the further industrialization of the country, and 3, the development of infrastructure.
Okay, so I'll start off the discussion for this question. I feel like the response hits a lot of the necessary key points, like the thesis, I thought it was fine, but I think the contextualization paragraph can be improved. For whoever wrote this, I think they're right about the economy for the North being heavily based on industrialization and industrialized products, but I think they didn't really include anything about the South. So I feel like the contextualization would be better if they also included parts, if they also included like information about the South's economy.
So I think we should move on to the next response. The next response says, before 1861, the United States economy was controlled by monopolies. One bit of evidence in support of this claim is the formation of the Standard Oil Company. The Standard Oil Company was a company founded by John D. Rockefeller that controlled the oil industry, including oil transport, extraction, refining, and marketing. This allowed the company to control the oil economy, allowing them to raise or lower the prices without any consequences. Because the company, like the Standard Oil Company, controlled different parts of the economy, the US economy prior to 1861 was controlled by monopolies. From 1861 to 1900, the Civil War fostered great economic change in the United States. During this time period, the economic change most fostered by the Civil War included 1. A change in the Southern workforce, 2. Advancement of technology, and 3. The continued development of Reconstruction.
I think the contextualization for this response is a little bit inaccurate and not really defendable because I think the Standard Oil Company was established by Rockefeller way after 1861, like around the time the Gilded Age started. So this piece of evidence doesn't really fit into the contextualization part of the answer. Although I do think that the thesis is accurate and that this response would get the thesis point.
Just to clarify, the contextualization should be like background information, right? So like events before 1861 should be included.
Yeah, so basically contextualization provides the reader with prior information on what happened before the date provided. So in our case, for this prompt, we would write about what happened prior to 1861.
Okay, I can read the next response. For the contextualization, the United States economy was industrialized in the North, but relied on manual labor in the South. One bit of evidence in support of this claim is the Industrial Revolution and increasing demands of slaves in the South. The first Industrial Revolution started at the start of the 19th century and led to the industrialization of the North with new technology and work methods that helped increase production efficiency and allowed mass production of goods made by machines instead of hands. However, the South still relied on manual labor, with the demand for slaves working in large plantations to pick cash crops and cotton increasing. Because of the increasing industrialization of the North and the continued importance of slavery in the South, the United States economy prior to 1861 was split between the industrialized North and the slave labor in the South. The thesis, the Civil War fostered great economic change in the United States. During this time period, the economic change most fostered by the Civil War included 1. The ratification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, and 2. The Black Codes, and 3. The Reconstruction Act.
Okay, so for this one, wait, let me just gather my thoughts a little bit. Yeah, so I think I have two problems with this answer. The first one is that it doesn't include any dates. Since the question gave dates, then I think it would be beneficial to add the dates in your answer to make a more complete response. And in addition, I feel the thesis might be a little too specific.
Sorry, I thought being more specific was a good thing.
I think for the thesis, it should be important that we present claims instead of specific evidence, as the evidence could go in the body paragraphs to support the claims in the thesis.
Okay, if nobody has anything to add, let's continue on. I'll read the fifth response. So the context says, prior to 1861, the North and the South had extremely different economies in the United States. This was mainly due to the separation and differences between the North and the South. The North adopted industrial expansion with the help of the government supporting industrialization and economic growth. For example, the people in the North established businesses that focused on industrial manufacturing. However, in the South, There was much less industrialization and more of a traditional agrarian economy due to the abundant amount of slave labor. In essence, the North and South were economically different before 1861 and the Civil War. The thesis, from 1861 to 1900, the Civil War fostered a great deal of economic change in America. During this period, the economic change most fostered by the Civil War included 1. The abolishment of slavery, 2. An increase in the demand of cheap labor to work in the factories, and 3. An increase in railroad construction.
Wow, I think this response is really good. It hits all the points and covers all the things we discussed previously. I think you'll get a 2 out of 2.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think any of us has much comments on this one. So I think that was the last response. Thank you everyone for your participation. Thanks for coming today. And our next study group will be next week. I'll keep everyone updated on the timing, and then I'll see you guys next week. Bye.